exchanging weapons and money with al-Qaeda. But B, the idea that it now has up to 20 American citizens operating for al-Shabaab in one way or another in Somalia is that one or more of them could come back to the United States under the radar and launch a terrorist attack here with the training and know-how they gained over there.
The death toll in Pakistan is 81 after a double suicide bomb attack on a crowd of churchgoers. A wing of the Pakistan Taliban's claimed responsibility. Here at home, taps and prayers for the victims of last week's Navy Yard massacre.
Once more, our hearts are broken. Once more, we ask why.
At a memorial for the 12 who were gunned down, President Obama urged changes in gun laws.
Here in America, the murder rate is 3 times what it is in other developed nations. The murder rate with guns is 10 times what it is in other developed nations. It comes about because of decisions we make or fail to make.
And the president heads to New York today for this week's UN General Assembly. White House correspondent Peter Mayer tells us Iran's nuclear program is again one of the key issues.
The White House insists there is no scheduled meeting between President Obama and Iranian leader Rouhani, but Foreign Policy Advisor Ben Rhodes signals it's possible.
We're always open to diplomacy if we believe it can advance our objectives, and in this instance our objective is an Iran to meet its international obligations.
Obligations starting with the U.S. demand for Iran to come clean about its nuclear ambitions. Officials say until that happens, there will be no let-up in the sanctions to pressure Tehran. Peter Mayer, CBS News, Washington.
The battle over the budget figures to dominate the headlines out of Washington this week. 1 week to go till a possible government shutdown. Republicans in the House have put Obamacare on the chopping block in the bill to keep things running. There's fierce opposition to that at the White House and in the Senate. CBS's Nancy Cordes on what we'd be looking at with a government shutdown.
Government workers who are deemed essential would have to come to work, but they would not get paid, and there would be no guarantee that they would get back pay when the government reopens. Workers who are deemed unessential would be furloughed. National parks, museums would be closed.
And government payouts like Social Security could be delayed. The expected and the unexpected happened last night at the Emmys. CBS's Steve Futterman has our coverage.
And the Emmy goes to...
It was a breakthrough night.
Breaking Bad.
On its 4th try, the highly acclaimed Breaking Bad won the most coveted Emmy, Best Dramatic Series. In the battle for Best Comedy Series, the winner was an old favorite.
Modern Family.
Modern Family won for the 4th straight year. The acting categories also saw some repeat winners.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus won a 2nd straight Emmy for her starring role in Veep. Other winners included Jim Parsons, Claire Danes, and Jeff Daniels.
Behind the Candelabra.
The HBO movie depicting the life of Liberace won for Best Miniseries or Movie. Its star Michael Douglas also won.
Thank you to my Academy fellow members.
Stephen Colbert ended Jon Stewart's 10-year streak in the Best Variety Show category.
The Colbert Report.
There was also history last night.
David Fincher, House of Cards.
The Netflix show House of Cards became the first program broadcast through the internet to win a Primetime Emmy. There were emotional tributes to some of those who died in the past year.
Tonight we remember Corey for all he was.
Among those honored, Glee star Corey Monteith and James Gandolfini, the star of The Sopranos. Steve Futterman, CBS News at the Emmy Awards in Los Angeles.
Overseas, a court in Egypt has banned the ousted president's Muslim Brotherhood group and ordered its assets confiscated. At least 33 deaths are blamed on a strong typhoon that's battered southern China and the Philippines, the storm packing wind gusts topping 130 miles an hour. A new report here at home looks at the perceptions and the reality of domestic violence. Here's CBS's Peter King.
Avon Foundation President Carol Kurzig says most Americans are aware of but don't talk about domestic violence and are unprepared to help.
We recognize if we start those conversations, people really are willing to get involved to try and end it.
70% of the women who were victims say they told someone about it. No one helped them.
People want to help. They say they want to help, but they don't know how, and they don't know what to look for.
Kurzig says her group and others hope to jumpstart that conversation with a new campaign against domestic violence.
No more excuses.
No more silence.
No more violence.
Peter King, CBS News.
Gasoline prices have done a bit of an about-face after a late summer rise.
Gasoline prices have just dropped 6 cents in the past 2 weeks, and regular now averages $3.52.
Analyst Trilby Lundberg says refiners are paying less and passing the cuts on to retailers. The highest price for a gallon of regular in San Francisco at $4.01. The lowest price, Charleston, South Carolina, $3.14. The internet reviews for that hotel you're considering are glittering, but are they legit? CBS's Vicki Barker says one state is cracking down on phonies.
New York regulators are handing out $350,000 in fines to 19 companies over fake positive reviews. They include a charter bus firm, a teeth whitening service, and a laser hair removal chain, as well as some of the reputation-enhancing firms that place fake reviews on sites like Google, Yahoo, and Yelp. The companies targeted are all New York-based, but a Yelp executive tells the New York Times this makes it clear fake reviews are a legitimate law enforcement target anywhere. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
The reviews were instant when pop star Rihanna posted a photo from her vacation in Thailand. It got 200,000 likes, and it got authorities interested, too. The pic was a selfie with her cuddling an endangered primate, a slow loris, which kind of looks like a squirrel. 2 people were arrested for allegedly peddling protected species. That's the Roundup. I'm Steve Kathan, CBS News.
Tonight's movie, The Making of a Male Model, will continue in a moment. Saturday.
Nobody move.
The heat's coming down in Chinatown for T.J. Hooker.
It's a shooting gallery, and we're the targets.
Then, Jamie Farr goes way overboard for Heather Locklear.
Wow.
On the Love Boat. And,
oh my,
a working girl's search for true love.
Welcome to the party.
Traps Rourke under her spell.
You won't regret it.
Fantasy Island, Saturday.
Start the day fresh, America. Get a fresh start every day.
Now you don't have to wake up to the same dingy gray clothes if you use Fresh Start laundry detergent. Fresh Start combines the best of powders and liquids to help clean the gray even the leading detergent can leave behind. And as the gray goes away, your clothes will look cleaner, fresher, brighter.
Start the day fresh, America. Get a fresh start every day.
If I gotta wear clothes, you gotta wear clothes.
Ever wonder what makes us, the Smurfs, so happy? The forest, of course. This is where we, along with the beautiful forest creatures, make our home with beautiful plant life, clean water, and endless adventures. It's a place to celebrate, so discover the forest with your family today. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You were a cheerleader, weren't you? Welcome back to Studio 26. I'm your host, Joe Haffner, and this is First Cup. There we go. Oh, yeah. Great music there from the movie Ed Wood, 1994. If you've not seen it, it's a bizarre movie, but based on true events. And some of that stuff in there, you're like, you can't write this kind of stuff, but man, very interesting. Hollywood make a movie about the worst film director in movie history. And after watching Plan 9 from Outer Space, it's well deserved. Well, let's see. What do we have left to do on the program for today? Popular tweets of the day coming up in a few minutes. The song of the day. What's on TV tonight? Right now, though, it's time for News of the Weird. And I'm waiting for my Prilosec to kick in. But I've been off of it for quite a while, so it may take a couple of days for it to really take full effect. I have modified my diet, but I got a hold of some garlic, which was a mistake, because while I love garlic, garlic does not like me. There's the news intro card. Let's take care of this right now.
And that's going to oh, son of a bitch. Why is this happening?
And it's time for News of the Weird on this Monday morning. And today we find that a paramedic has a coffin painted as an ambulance. A Norwegian paramedic, Paul Rorseth, was buried in a coffin painted like an ambulance. His family said he requested it almost jokingly, but the family did it to honor his life's work. His coffin was painted by the same company that painted the ambulance that Rorseth drove. Oh, man. So be careful what you wish for. You may end up spending eternity in it, decayed. I know. I have jokingly said that I want to be buried in a photon torpedo tube like they had in Star Trek II that Spock was buried in and launched out of. And they now make those. So I might end up in one of those, or I might end up in a studio set underground. That'd be a little bit more expensive, though. That's the news of the weird for today. Not really all that entertaining, but somewhat amusing. Hopefully the popular tweets of the day will be a little bit better. So let's get Governor Rick Perry in here and find out what's gone on the old tweeter.
And you can always follow me on Twitter.
Hello, computer.
Just use the keyboard.
The keyboard? How quaint.
And the popular tweets of the day, well, on Friday, the Republican-led House voted to defund the Affordable Care Act by introducing and voting on a short-term government spending plan that was contingent on eliminating money for the Affordable Care Act. So I've gone to the tweeter to see what people are saying, and here's what I've found. Liz Winstead writes, House votes to defund Obamacare and proposes to replace it with We Don't Care. Mike Hines writes, if the House GOP votes to defund Obamacare one more time, they get a set of steak knives. John Shortino writes, the House is voting again to defund Obamacare. That's weird. They're not usually known for making loud and empty gestures. And finally, MME Surly writes, where do I go to vote for defunding the House and Senate's health care plans? I'll go along with that. That's only fair. And those are the popular tweets of the day. Well, we've come to that portion of the program that I call my favorite portion of the program. And that means it's time for the song of the day. And today we go back roughly about 22 years for this great tune from John Mellencamp off his album called Whenever We Want It. 2 weeks after Nirvana's Nevermind landed in record stores, 3 weeks after Guns N' Roses' double disc opus, Use Your Illusion, debuted, John Mellencamp was reborn, so to speak. It seems that on October 8th of 1991, saw the release of Whenever We Want It, the first album to be released under the last name he would ever use, John Mellencamp. Whenever We Want It found Mellencamp striving forward and all but abandoning the accordion, fiddle, and heartland music he had perfected over his last three albums. Whenever We Want It showcases the thunderous return of the electric guitar. Not only is it a fine return to form, but he has turned up the volume, producing his heaviest record to date. Right from the get-go, the storming politically conscious Love and Happiness sets the course with thick, crunching riffs that would not relent until the disc had spun all 10 tunes. While the album is arguably his least adventurous since American Fool, that is not necessarily bad. Mellencamp took the pastoral sounds as far as he could go with Scarecrow, the Lonesome Jubilee, and Big Daddy. Here the music is stripped to the bare minimum, or at least I thought it was, until the release of Dance Naked. While Lisa's Germano's violin is absent from the entire recording, his guitarists lead the attack with their dueling guitars, while the drummer Kenny Aronoff and bassist Toby Myers keep the beat. And the tour in support of the album is viewed by most Mellencamp fans as his defining moment as a live performer. Now, the track that I've chosen is one of my favorite tunes, especially from the early 90s, and it's called Again Tonight. Okay? And it's basically about the story of a young lady who's out on a date, getting ready for a date, and essentially is not picking the best choice of men. And the guy in the song is basically a jerk, kind of naive, making the same mistakes repeatedly. Okay? That's the general overview of the song. But if you haven't heard it, it's really a great tune, and brings back memories of my very first college crush. I won't reveal her name on the program, but those of you who know me know who it is. Don't wish to go back down that road. It's just say it was one of my biggest regrets in life. But you live, you learn. Anyway, this is John Mellencamp.